Teaching Through Technology grant. We call it T4 for short, because it's a mouthful. What we're trying to do is make sure that we are leveraging technology as teacher educators to ensure that our teachers are as well prepared as they possibly can be. So one of the ways that we're doing that is through our Makerspace here, the self-design studio where we're sitting, where teacher candidates have an opportunity to come in and experience cutting-edge technologies and for themselves. I think in the intro you mentioned the fact that our beginning teachers, our teacher candidates, are not necessarily familiar with how to use technology in their teaching, even though they might use it extensively in their personal lives. And so one of the ways that we need to counter what we call the apprenticeship of observation, where teacher candidates frequently are inclined to teach the way that they were taught, rather than incorporating new things. So we counter that by having candidates come in here and experience the technologies and have the opportunity to explore them, and then think about ways in which they might incorporate that into their instruction. So really our grant is about helping all of our candidates, regardless of their licensure area, become familiar with technology and develop a disposition to incorporate whatever technology may be available to them into their instruction in the effort to engage all learners and to make sure that all learners have access to not just consume technology, but understand how it works, to be creators and innovators and problem solvers. Our effort is to make sure that all of our candidates, regardless of whether they're a science teacher, a math teacher, an art teacher, are using whatever is at their disposal to engage their students in the classroom.
I love that so much, and especially because in K-12 we tend to go by the thought, and I think it's a huge misconception, that higher ed is disconnected to the needs of technology in schools. And you're modeling such an effective example and program where you are completely changing what we think about maybe what higher ed does. And there's so many other examples across the country. So you guys are a great example of that, and especially with other schools that do this same work. So your partnership with two of the largest school districts in North Carolina, Guilford County Schools and Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools, seems to be a mutually beneficial relationship. Tell us more about the schools that you partner with and what the impact of that partnership has been.
Well, from the university's perspective, it's critical that our teacher candidates have the opportunity to not just have these kinds of experiences here at the university, but that they also have those experiences in the schools, that they transfer that to a real world setting and see that this can in fact work with real children in the kinds of schools where they're likely to end up teaching. So we partnered with Guilford County and with Winston-Salem Forsyth, and we have 4 elementary schools in Guilford County schools, and 2 middle schools and a high school in Winston-Salem Forsyth County schools, where we are working with both the pre-service teachers in those settings and the veteran teachers in those settings to make sure that our candidates have the opportunity to practice the strategies themselves, but also to see veteran teachers practicing these strategies of incorporating technology into teaching.
And the power in that is the impact on the students. Because while the program is impacting the pre-service teachers as well as the veteran teachers that are there, as Christina said, they're practicing with the students in the classroom. And that collaborative learning environment, the teachers are learning from the students are learning from each other. It is absolutely the kind of learning environment that we want to foster in our school systems.
Absolutely, and it was truly impactful for me learning alongside veteran teachers, not only hearing their stories, but improving my practice as a math teacher. And the teacher quality program enabled us to do that. So it's amazing that you had the vision to write this grant and bring this to the teachers, students of those communities. From what I understand, though, the 3 of you are joining us live from the SELF, S-E-L-F, design studio on UNCG's campus. Can you explain what viewers are seeing in the background and how you use that space with teaching candidates as part of their coursework?
That's me? Yes, you do.
Hi.
Hi.
So welcome. This is the Self-Design Studio, and SELF is actually an acronym. It stands for the Student Educator Learning Factory. So what we do is it's kind of twofold. I work with a lot of the pre-service teachers. They'll come in for different methods classes. Like we just had a reading methods class this morning where they had to take a piece of student writing and they had to kind of publish it or how should I say, present it in a different way. So it's a piece of writing, but they used green screen technology, stop motion animation. They made little, makey interactive posters. So we kind of gave them a taste of how they might work with kids using different technologies to present pieces in different ways. So we had two groups that actually gave them the same piece, but they produced very different outcomes, which was great. So we use it for that. We also use it as kind of an open lab where our students can come in and essentially just play with a lot of the tools that we have here. It's my thought that if I want them to play with the different tools and get used to them in an environment that isn't so, what should I say, it's not threatening, or it's not, there's no pressure, right? So they can come in and just relax and learn how to use 3D printer or the laser cutter or their different circuitry kits. And then once they kind of play with them and they get used to using them, then we can figure out, well, how do we use those in teaching? How can we incorporate 3D printing into English language arts or 3D printing into social studies? So we've set up a series of these quests where they come in and they become certified. It's a series of like online courses, and they come in and do actual work in the lab. And once they complete different quests, they have checkout privileges, so they can check out different tools. Like we have a 3D printer they can bring to classrooms, or a whole class set of little bits, class sets of makeys that they can then bring out and use them with students. Because they can come in here and use them, but if they don't actually use them with kids in the community, then kind of what's the point in learning how to use it? We want to figure out how they're using it in classrooms and share that with everybody else as well.
I love that you do that. And as a fellow Minecrafter, seeing Minecraft Steve's head in the background is pretty awesome. So I do have to ask you this question is, we in our school district specifically, we're working on trying to do more innovative professional learning practices. We have several teachers that have partnered with the university in a teacher quality grant program, but those programs vary. Not all of them do makerspaces in schools. Not all of them do this type of work. So what advice can you give for schools that maybe want to seek out programs like this or create it for themselves? Because this is such a great and innovative environment for learning professionally in this safe space that you've provided, while also having the tools to bring back to the classroom.
For me, I think that the biggest thing is having the model. UNCG started this in an environment that was failure proof. I mean, it's okay to fail, it's comfortable, it's safe, and then brought the teachers in to be able to experience that. And we know that we learn in so different modalities, but visually having a model that we could then take back into our schools and replicate, as well as some of the strategies that they were employing here, has been very powerful for our teachers and our schools.
I think what I would add to that is it's not so much about having a lot of stuff. It's really about the mindset and about the approach. And you can put in a really pretty nice, well-equipped makerspace in a school for a couple $1,000s. So, it's not necessary to spend a huge amount of money or have a huge federal grant in order to do this. It's about, having the desire and, like I said, the disposition that we're trying to instill in our teacher candidates to try new things, to bring things in that are going to engage kids, things like Minecraft. So kids love Minecraft, but how can we leverage their love of Minecraft to help them learn something that they need to know in other curriculum areas and so forth. So, and next year it might be something totally different than Minecraft. And so we need to have that disposition, not just to use what's currently available, but to think about what's out there. So I think cultivating that disposition, the mindset, and then if you have some resources to support that kind of so you have a few teachers who are willing, put some resources into supporting them and doing that, and sort of watch it grow.